The book I did by Robert Munsch is Too Much Stuff. And this book is about a mother, a daughter, and her younger sibling. And they're going to visit their grandmother, and it requires a plane ride to go see their grandmother. So the main character is Tamina, who is the daughter of the mother. And she is told that she can only bring one doll on the trip with her because she has so many toys. Now, the mother says that you can only bring one because you have 200 toys. You can't bring all of them. It's not possible. And the daughter says, Mom, you know that I only have 37 dolls and I don't have 200. And after that, she decided that she was going to bring all of her dolls and her toys. So she enlisted the help of her little sister and decided to take all of her toys and dolls and jam them into a backpack. So her and her sister jammed them into a backpack, and then they get to the airport, and as they're walking through, the mother and her younger sibling both say, "Hurry up, you're too slow, you got to keep up with us, we have to get to the plane." And what they don't realize, or what the mother doesn't realize, is what is in the backpack and why it's so heavy. So her mother says, "Let me carry it for you." And she says, "No, this is my backpack." And then her younger sister says, "Then I'll help you carry it." And she says, "No, this is my backpack. I'm the one carrying it." So they get to security, and the security guys ask the mother, can I look in your bag?" She says, "Yes, of course." And then they ask the youngest sibling, "Can I look in your bag?" And she says, "Yes, of course." But they ask Tamina, "Can I look in your bag?" And she says, "No, absolutely not. My bag is a secret, and nobody should ever know what is in it." And they said, "Okay, well, then we have to x-ray your bag." And she said, "Okay, I guess that's fine, but just don't tell my mother what is in my bag." So they go and x-ray her bag, and what they find is all the toys in it jammed together, and all the security guys are in shock. They uh they can't believe the amount of toys that are in the bag, and eventually they just give her the bag and say, "Okay, you're good to go." So they get onto the plane, and the flight attendant asks her, "What's in your bag?" Because it's alarming at how large it is. And Tamina says, "Here, I'll show you." And she unzips it, and the toys go flying all over the plane. So the toys are all over the plane. She has some taped to the ceiling. She has some on her lap, some in the chairs next to her. Just tons of toys all over. So the flight attendant comes back a little bit later and says, "I have three kids from China that won't stop crying because their mother would not let them bring toys with them." She said, "May I borrow three of yours?" Tamina says, "Yes, of course." Gives her the three toys. She comes back again and says, "I have three other kids that won't stop crying that are from Kenya because their mother wouldn't let them bring toys." She said, "May I borrow three more?" She says, "Yes, of course," and gives her the toys. And then the flight attendant comes back again and says, "I have three more children from Scotland that are crying because their mother will not let them uh, have their toys in the plane or bring them." And she says, "May I borrow three more?" And Tamina says, "Yes, of course." So she gives all of her toys out to borrow to these kids so that they can be happy and stop crying on the plane. So when they get to her grandmother's house, she isn't upset that she didn't get her toys back because her grandmother actually makes dolls. So she knows that her grandmother will make her new dolls and new toys to replace the old ones. And they get back to their house after the trip, and she gets things in the mail. She gets a doll from Kenya, she gets a doll from China, and she gets a doll from Scotland. And she says, "Well, how did I get these dolls? I don't know anybody from these places." And then she realizes that she loaned out her toys for children to use, and in return they sent her those as gifts. So the mother says, "Next time you're going on a trip, you are going with your father." And the funny part about that is the next page it flips over. There's no text on it. It's just an image, and it's the father with a wagon and just a pile of toys all the way up, and he's sweating and like struggling to pull the toys with him. So this story was cool to me, and I thought kids would enjoy it because obviously it involves toys and dolls and stuff that kids tend to play with and use. And also, it would teach kids about sharing because in the beginning of the book, when she did not allow people to hold her backpack or she wanted to bring all her toys, I didn't really expect her to say yes when the flight attendant, came up and asked, "Could I borrow some of your toys to give to children?" I expected her to say no or to have an argument prior and then maybe give them away, but she gave them away immediately instead of hoarding them all. So I thought that could be a very interesting point to teach kids is that sharing helps others, and in return, she got something out of it. So if you help others, then they may be more willing to help you and to give back to you. Some people obviously aren't going to when you help them, but then there's going to be the few that do. And it's just the reward of making somebody else happy and making them feel good from something you can do, even if it's the smallest thing of giving somebody a doll or a toy. An interactive activity I might do with my kids is just ask the whole class, if you were in that situation, would you share your toys with the kids, or would you keep them all because they're yours? And I feel like there's a lot of kids that would probably end up keeping their toys because they don't want to give up something that's theirs. Just like, for example, I have a lot of younger cousins, and I notice when they're playing that if they have something, they will not give it to anybody else, even if they've had it for a long time, or if they're not using it and somebody else picks it up, they'll go right over and start playing with they're using it just so nobody else can. And that's not good for children to do that. We want them to start sharing at a young age so they can develop it and put it into their normal routine. So I thought maybe just bringing up seeing if children would share, wouldn't share, and then asking them why wouldn't you share with the kids that needed help, or why would you do it? Just to see what they would come up with for examples, and maybe hearing others that would share their reasoning for sharing might put ideas in the kids that didn't want to share, like put ideas that they should share and help others because in return it's the right thing to do and it can reward you in the end. And the standards I thought would go with this are integration of knowledge and ideas, describe the relationship between illustrations and the text, KR7. And I thought this because the illustrations in the book were very good, and it shows all the toys up on the ceiling and her holding all of them. And then near the end of the book, it shows all the other children holding the toys and nobody crying, and everybody just looks happy and relieved. And then the other standard that I chose was KR4, identify specific words that express feelings and senses. And I chose this because there's a few onomatopoeias used in this book, like they use kafoosh and they use ah. So I thought that would be cool to show students that that is an onomatopoeia. Maybe they're not sure what that is, so I could teach them what it is at the point. Thank you.